Session to order, 1 o'clock. Agenda additions and approval. We have on 9.1 of your agenda, we're going to have a public service announcement. It basically just letting you know about our IDP open house, and then we will have an in-camera session. So with that, can I get a motion to accept the agenda as presented with amendments? Thank you, Mr. Clark. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Minutes approval from May the 21st, 2025, page 3 of your package. Are there any questions, concerns? Mr. Gender.
What was presented, please?
Thank you. All those in favor? That is carried. Thank you. We'll quickly do introductions, starting with Rich, please.
Rich Fitzgerald, Development Officer.
Michelle Hoover, Legislative Assistant.
Gender, board member, good afternoon.
Paul McKay, board member.
Larry Clark, board member. Justin Stevens, good afternoon.
Good afternoon. Les Stulberg, board member.
James Nyberg, Chair of the Municipal Planning Commission.
Craig Teal, Director of Planning and Development.
Eric Kushner, Manager of IT.
And in the back, everybody knows you, but
Tony Board, just here to see what you guys do.
thanks, Tony. Right on. Okay, no business arising from those said minutes, and we're going to go on. We might as well do 6.4 if everybody's cool with that. All right, I'm seeing nodding of the heads. Who's taking this one? Mr. Fitzgerald, you go.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So the purpose of this application is to consider a home business on Lot 1, Plan 0022470.
Mr. I think you wanted to jump to the subdivision application for Mr. Boric. Is that 6.4? So the answer, that'll be me.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
You guys get your stuff together and I'll follow.
Very good. So the application asks the sketch to bring up is on page 74 of the PDF, please. So, Mr. Chairman, this application is for a first parcel out of a quarter section. If we could just maybe reduce it so we can see the entire quarter there. And the application is to create about a 17-acre parcel in the very northeast corner that you can see outlined in pink on the sketch up on the screen. There's no existing farmstead or building, so this is considered a bare parcel, and ordinarily our MDP favors staying around the 5-acre mark. However, there is discretion for the subdivision authority to consider larger parcels where they feel there's no other issues that are negatively impacted. In this particular case, staff have no concerns about the additional parcel increase. The intent is to place a house kind of where the white arrow is going, just into the north above that in the clearing, which already pulls you back from the road. And when you consider the possible use of an open discharge system at the future, that's another 8 to 10 acres of that 17. And then the rest is just some space. In this particular case, the applicant's asked for space for some personal small herd of cattle, animals, horses, that sort of thing. The road widening is required along the south edge of the quarter section. That township road doesn't have our typical 30 meters, so there is a condition recommending that we have a road acquisition agreement for approximately 5-meter wide strip along that stretch. Along the right-hand side on 19, let's see, which 19-5, I believe, 19-3, sorry. We already have the widening and also the right-of-way bulbs up around the culvert that you can see just south of the pink box, the proposed parcel. A new access has been built already and approved by Public Works for the very northeast corner of the proposed parcel, and our air photo from 2021 shows the brushing that used to be there, and that's also been taken care of since the time we did a site inspection. Red Willow Creek does go through the middle of the quarter section, and this is one of the few areas of Red Willow Creek where we do have access to floodplain mapping. And we're able to confirm that the maximum extent of the flood hazard for that section of Red Willow Creek only nips into the very southeast corner of the proposed parcel. So there's lots of building space left, especially in that clearing that was mentioned earlier, that's well beyond the flood hazard issue. So that's not of concern from a planning perspective. In terms of the Rural Development Fund, the policy is that everything over 5 acres would be subject to the $1,000 an acre charge. So in this particular case, it does give us a little over a $12,000 contribution, subject to the MPC's approval and decision on that. And if we could just jump to page 71 of the PDF, please, Jared. And if we could scroll down, we're going to look at the conditions that are part of the recommendation. They may go on to the next page. So the first two that you see are the standard ones. That's if approval is granted, obtaining a surveyor to follow up before it gets signed off by us, making sure that the taxes are paid. Can we scroll down, please? And then 3 and 4, the issue of while I mentioned the approach to the parcel, there's still a need to pick a location and provide an approach for an agricultural approach to the remainder, which is one that the county staff will install or in any case. And then there's also condition 4 is the road acquisition agreement, that widening along the south portion that I was mentioning. With that, Mr. Chairman, their recommendation is for approval. With those 4 conditions, my apologies. And I'd be happy to field any questions.
Are there any questions?
I'll just move it as presented, please.
Okay. Ms. Ford, any comments you'd like to make? You're good. Okay. Seeing that, no questions or concerns. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. I know we're pretty boring, but you're more than welcome to stick around and enjoy the rest of the afternoon with us.
Okay. All right. Thank you.
Thanks, Tony. Have a good one. Okay, now we'll go back up to 10, I think, Mr. 6.1 and Mr. Fitzgerald.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So the purpose of this application is to consider a home business on Lot 1, Plan 0022470. The applicant is proposing to operate a muffler shop as a home business on the subject property. Subject property is zoned agricultural and the home business is a discretionary use in this district. Subject property is located just north of Highway 12 on Range Road 20-2. And actually, can I get you to scroll to page 13, please? So the applicant is proposing to use an existing Quonset on the property to operate an automotive repair shop. The applicant estimates between 10 to 15 customers per week and indicates that the only employees will be residents of the subject property. There's ample parking available on site and clear sight lines from the approach onto Range Road 20-2 in both directions. The surrounding properties consist of residential and agricultural uses, with the applicant owning the residence to the south of the subject property. Due to the proximity to the highway, the applicant was required to obtain a permit through transportation and economic corridors, which they have provided. Home business has several conditions that it has to meet. So just to quickly go through those, a home business requires discretionary use permit, is to be operated as a secondary use to the principal residential use. No persons other than permanent residents of the property shall be engaged in the business. A home business shall not interfere with the rights of adjacent landowners to the quiet and private enjoyment of the property, shall not adversely affect the amenities of the surrounding area, shall not generate traffic that is uncharacteristic to the neighborhood, and it requires the hours of operation to be Monday to Saturday, 7 to 10 p.m., and Saturdays and stat holidays between 10 a.m. and 6 p.m. So the applicant does reside on the subject property. The applicant has indicated the employees of the business will also be residents of the property. Subject property is set back 350 feet from the road and is screened by mature shelter belt. The nearest neighbor is over a half kilometer to the north. If I can get you to scroll to page 14. It shows that's the subject property. And if I get you to scroll down just a little bit more, that's the Quonset that they are proposing to operate the business out of. They are not proposing to construct any new buildings or add anything to the footprint of that building. It'll operate within the side of there. So the business will be contained within that shop and will not generate any nuisances to adjacent neighbors. Traffic generated will not be uncharacteristic for the neighborhood. The business will only occupy approximately 10% of the gross floor area of the principal dwelling and ancillary structures. No alterations are proposed to accommodate the business. The business will operate within the regular business hours and will have ample parking to accommodate employees and customers. There are no commercial vehicles proposed for this development. The attached permit contains conditions so that the proposed use meets the requirements of the home business, such as parking, time limits, hours of operation, and etc. And The staff recommendation is to approve the development permit with the attached conditions. And that concludes my presentation.
Okay, Mr. Clark, just a question.
Question on that, there is 2 residents on that property?
There is, yes.
Jared, could you get in up top, the screen on top?
And there's also one to the south.
Okay, it does show the house figure on it. Okay, I missed that first go.
Okay, any questions or concerns? Mr. Stephen?
I will move it to be approved as presented with staff recommended conditions.
And I would just make the comment that I think this is something that actually our community needs. I'm glad to see that this
I'll
is
push on.
moving forward. I think the one that in town that isn't working anymore, and I was just making the comment the other day, who would you get to do that? This is good. Excellent. Okay, I might need to get in the phone number.
Okay, calling the question, all those in favor? Thank you. Carried. And now,
On to 6.2.
Mr. Chair, so that one will be going to page 34 for the sketch, please, Jared. Okay, so, great, excellent, okay. Mr. Chair, members of the commission, you may recall this was the same property was the subject of a development permit a couple MPCs ago with 2 new commercial buildings being constructed. Those buildings are well underway. And so on this site, it's still our air photo from 2021. So that's why on the site photos, you'll see the buildings. And this one is still, as it existed, this vacant grassed area in 2021. The proposal is to take the 2 existing lots that are largely, well, it can't quite make out the black line on the screen up there. Maybe on the one that, on your desktop represents the existing parcel configuration. And then the pink line or purple line through the middle is a change from the orientation of and shape of those 2 original parcels to one that has a P handle and P lot type design, and one that is just a smaller square down in the south part. So both will still maintain access off 42nd Avenue to the south. Just one will come up a long privately owned driveway, and the other one will have the ability to have direct access right off 42nd Avenue. The purple line that you see on the screen does go between the 2 buildings that were approved and are well under construction, and maintains at least a 25-foot yard on either side of that line for the buildings to meet the land use bylaw requirements. The application, given that we're redividing lots and the subdivision has already been approved, a lot of their issues are already taken care of. They're serviced by water and wastewater services that connect to the town system. Offsite levies are a work in progress in terms of being collected, and the reserve dedications have already been previously dealt with, so we don't have a lot of those to deal with. Given that it's an industrial commercial parcels, we don't charge the Rural Development Fund for these kind of subdivision applications. And if we can go to page 32, we'll find the conditions that are recommended to be attached with an approval. And that's why they are relatively short. It's the standard one of getting a surveyor in to do the necessary plan, making sure the property taxes are satisfied. And we had one issue of the TELUS line going across one of the 2 properties, so they will have to have an easement to keep that line in place. With that, Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to field any questions.
Okay.
be honest, I thought we had already done this one when I saw it, so I wasn't sure what was happening. Any questions or concerns? Okay. Mr. Gender.
Move it as presented and also on conditions, please.
Okay.
You got no questions, concerns? Call the question. All those in favor? It's carried. Thank you. Next up.
I'm going to go to page 51.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this one, we're just to the west of Botha for this particular application, and switch my own stuff. So the application is for a farmstead removal. So we are working around existing farm residents and farm outbuildings and paddocks, etc. And it's to create a relatively large 18-acre farmstead. Ordinarily, we'd like to see that down around the 7 to 10 acre mark. But there's a couple of factors in this particular case that have influenced the shape and the size that you're seeing. One is the open discharge is located to the east of the dwelling that you see. And so that would occupy kind of, by the time you put on the setbacks, occupy the southern 2/3 of the parcel. And then in terms of not isolating or creating an awkward parcel for agriculture to work off of, it basically was easier just to extend the lines all the way up to the northeast corner of the parcel. And that's how we get the working around the existing paddock lines and fence lines and house. That's how you end up with a larger than a 10-acre parcel. It is a first parcel out of this quarter section. The highway and the railway clip the south edge, but they are not counted as parcels for that purpose. So there's no reserve dedication or municipal reserve dedication required. In terms of the Rural Development Fund, it would apply to portions of the 18-acre parcel. And we've taken kind of an approach where it's easier to identify the areas that are clearly agricultural land and cropland that probably should be kind of subtracted from the 18 to then arrive at how much should be payable. And largely the areas that we feel should be subject to the application is, you can see the crop field that's immediately south of the driveway. And then it goes off to the west until it bumps into an angular fence separating a paddock from the rest of the lands. And then up in the northwest corner, you can see everything that's basically to the west of the tree line is pasture land. So we think those two areas should definitely be subject to the Rural Development Fund. And it means about 12.2529, I think is more accurate, acres of the area would not have to pay the Rural Development Fund. So that doesn't capture the maximum we allow for a farmstead of 10 acres. It's about 2.8 acres or so up in the northeast corner where we have a blend of wetlands and treed area. If we go to page 71, we'll find the conditions, please. Just got to scroll down a little bit. 71 was PDF 71. It's the same thing we're straddling. So the first two are easy on that page. If we scroll down, we'll find the remaining conditions, 3 and 4. So again, we have a road acquisition agreement issue to be addressed. Yes, along the east side of the property on Township Road 39-3, and the construction of an approach for the remainder, again, which is an agricultural approach that would be put in by the county, and there's ample opportunities and locations where that could be. With that, Mr. Chair, I'd be happy to field any questions.
Okay. Anybody have any concerns, questions? Mr. Gender?
I'm just not really sure, but John,
Sorry, my mistake.
there was
Can we
Hold on.
I think you put up the wrong page for me. I already asked for the wrong page. Can we jump to page 48, please? Let's do that again. Sorry, Mr. Chair. There we go. Okay, so we still have the same standard ones. Scroll down a little bit. Okay, great. Oh, sorry, can you go back there, Jared, where you had? Condition number 3, Mr. Chair, is we do have on that acreage west of Altha an issue with ATCO. Electric does need a right of way for a line that's cutting across the property.
Okay.
We have a little bit of grubbing and clearing to be done on Range Road 18-5, and it's on also where we have road acquisition requirement. Okay. And we also have to approach or construct the approach into the remainder. Can we scroll down to see the full wording of condition 6, Jared? And that should give us clearly, yes, the township road we're talking about there is 18-5.
The picture matched. The picture matched, right?
The picture, the first one matched, yes. We just I gave the wrong page reference for the conditions.
Okay, Mr. Gender, go ahead.
I just want to have Public Works check it out, but I believe that there is another approach into the north part of that parcel, and there is an approach off in the northwest corner of the remainder. I just want to have.
Let's have a look at the map again, Mr. Kushner.
Go to page 51.
I see what you're saying, but maybe they're not approved approaches, right?
Like the one in the northwest corner of that,
It looks like there's 2.
like there is, that's been there for a long time, but on the acreage, I believe that there's been a new one constructed there within, say, like the last year or so.
No, you would know this?
I'm just driving by it.
Oh, okay. I was wondering
How sure you were?
And in those kind of cases where sometimes it may be there is from 2021 or maybe overgrown, or we didn't see it during the site inspection. If we find from the approval to the time when the surveyor is being out, we're checking the final. If it's something that's already satisfied, we just waive the condition and move on.
So we just got to make sure they have an approach, okay, an approved approach. Okay, any other questions, Mr. Clark?
I don't have a question. I just going to put it forward.
Okay. With conditions as
per staff recommended.
okay. No other questions or concerns? Seeing none, I'll call the question. All those in favor, and that is carried. Thank you, gentlemen. And we've already taken care of 6.4, so let's go to 7.1. Who's taking this one?
I'll take this one, Mr. Chairman.
You go with it, Rich.
Thank you very much. So the total number of permits processed from May 10th to June 10th, 2025 is 9, and the total number of permits processed in that same time period, 2024, was 18. So development permits are a little bit behind this year, what they were last year at this time. Basically the same, see the same patterns, mostly are all residential. We have had a few more industrial and commercial development permits this year compared to last year. So, you know, the numbers don't always add up, but sometimes the commercial and industrial permits are a little more time consuming ones. So it's nice to have a little bit of a mix there. And that's about it. There's no real other patterns that I could point out.
Okay. Any questions from Mr. Clark?
Just a comment, you know, when you look at our development permits and some that we've seen today, I think it's pretty important to note that we've got development permits that are actually bringing business into our municipality too. And the ones that are being built that we just approved that roadway for, I drive by it all the time and it impresses me every time I go by with the type of what they're doing and the type of work, how they're doing it. So it's going to be a good looking business to promote the county too. So
Absolutely, and that development, it's expanding. I mean, that's good. I have one question for you. So when we talk about this report on the developments, not everyone gets completed, right? Right. There's lots of people that'll pull out a permit, but may never ever pull the trigger and actually do, for whatever reason, things happen. I get it. Is there a completion of our past ones? Do we have that? Do you guys go back and go, yeah, it's done? Or is it a case of you just let it go till somebody brings it in?
Traditionally, we didn't, but we have started tracking them and doing a follow-up, especially if there were conditions that were added to the permit. We're starting to follow up with those because they have a year to start, 2 years to complete. So we are following up on that. And we have started tracking permits that we get a lot of inquiries that don't always lead up to an actual application. So we could add to that and start tracking the permits that were approved and issued, but were never completed. So we could, add that in.
And the only reason I would suggest that we would even look at that is because we could have a year where we have a whole ton of permits pulled out, but if they never come to completion, then it really isn't a successful year as it would be if there was one that was, you have a year, maybe you have a few less applications, but they're all finished. Just a note, I was at the conference on Tuesday and they had a session on capital builds and doing the permitting process. The individual that was speaking has a immense amount of respect for the county of Stettler and how we do our process. He was talking about a certain city down in southern Alberta, one of the two big ones. I won't say which one. Well, I'll say it. It was Medicine Hat. They went to go, he'd done 3 or 4 other projects. We're talking multi-million-dollar projects, and 12 to 14 months done and completed. One in Medicine Hat, building code inspector came in, wouldn't give them an approval for 215 days. Got the approval, then started doing the build, and it was 30 days before the inspections were completed in some cases. Unbelievable. He says, we will not go back there. As a business, and a strong big business in central Alberta, he has said, I will not go back there. That's what the development department can do for you. So when I mentioned where I was from, he had a lot of respect for you guys. And he's done a number of builds in our communities. Kudos to you guys. Okay. Mr. McKay, you want to give us a receipt for information on this?
I shall do that.
You are awesome. All those in favor? Thank you very much. Thanks for that, Rich. Okay, new business memo. We talked a little bit about this earlier in the Ag Service board meeting, but
I can take this one.
page 83 your package, gentlemen.
Actually, can I get,
Oh, no, not this one, sorry.
can I get you to go to page 84 for this one? So this is a memo from NRCB. They're just giving us notification that they've received an application and have deemed it complete. What they're looking for from us or any comments or concerns. And there are things that we are required to look for. Part of those, does it meet the county's MDP? Does it meet the land use regulation? And is it contained within a CFO exclusion area? So this one, the Mars Dairy is proposing to add 200 milking cows, a freestyle barn addition, a sand separation shed, new earth and manure storage, and a parlor building with a calf barn to their operation. So as you can see, their operation is located 1 mile south of the CFO exclusion area for the town and county IDP. So it is outside of that CFO. It is zoned agricultural, as are all the lands around it within a 1.5 mile radius. So it does meet with the MDP and it does meet with the land use bylaw. The only thing about this application, it does meet all of our requirements as far as setbacks go, but because it is adjacent to the highway, they will have to apply to Alberta Transportation for their roadside permit. But it is well outside of that 40-meter setback that highways requires. So.
Okay, any questions, concerns?
I just have one in regards to that offset with the Department of Highways or Transportation. When you look at it, it's got a barn between them and the highway. I certainly would hope that there wouldn't be a holdup on somebody developing their farmstead when they have a huge barn to the east or the west of their site.
I wouldn't expect so, and the applicant may not have been aware when they sent this to the NRCB. Even though we don't require development permits for agricultural buildings, they will still be required to meet the condition for the Alberta Transportation. So I notified them that when I got this application from the NRCB, so I'm sure that they'll apply, but I would, it is well outside of that 40-meter setback area, and I doubt that they would make the move barn, but they may not. Alberta Transportation could, if that building was too close to the highway, they may not allow them to add to the problem by adding an addition. I don't think we'll see that with this application.
Okay. Any other questions, concerns? Mr.
The only other concern I might have is, say, like for a land base for this operation for the incorporation of the manure.
Well, I think part of the deal through the NRCB, you have to have an agreement. I think we've seen it in some places where you actually have a contract to dispose of manure. So I think to the north and east of here, I think they had a similar situation with one of the barns, but they had an agreement or contract to spread it.
I do believe they bought the land across the road from this barn, where the barn site is too, so there'd be a quarter or half section there too.
And I know
Lots of guys would love to have it. The manure is this particular kind anyways. Any other questions, concerns, Mr. Stolberg? You rock. Thank you, sir. Awesome. Receive for information from Mr. Stolberg. All those in favor? That's carried. Thank you. Next one, Rich or Craig?
No, that one's Craig.
Ducks on DU. You're there?
Mr. Chair, checking on her resolution for the previous item. So if we take a look on page 83, we have actually the more exciting one is on 84 for the map. This involves 2 quarter sections that Ducks Unlimited has asked us to, my mistake, 88. And so 89 will be the more exciting. There we go. And so we've got 2 quarter sections that are proposed to be subject to a Ducks Unlimited conservation easement. With the exception of, you see the black darker black crossed hatch area. There's a 10-acre box on the north quarter section, yeah, kind of on the east side, mid distance north-south, and in the lower left, in the very southwest corner, there's another 10-acre box. So in both these applications for the quarter, those parcels don't exist, but the easement is trying to leave space for the in the future, if they wish to subdivide, they could create a 10-acre parcel in those particular locations without that new parcel being subject to the conservation easement. The clock on this one started late May. There's still a portion of the 60-day waiting period involved. So the recommendation from staff is to communicate to Ducks Unlimited that the county is prepared to waive the remainder of the 60-day period.
I'll move that we waive the remainder of the 60-day notice period.
So I just want to speak to that a little bit. In the past, we haven't, I think we've been a little bit split as a council on whether we do or don't do that. We have suggested that the landowner get some legal advice and make sure that they understand what they're entering into as far as this caveat goes on for a number of times. But did we do that this time?
Actually, I'm trying to think, the last time, if my memory serves, we chose just not to waive the 60 days.
Okay.
Other times we have. And, you know, that is one of the things, if we chose not, is we could let the landlord know, maybe double check a few things. But the reality is if they, after day 61, if they want to do it, this is going in, yes.
Yeah. Go ahead, Mr. Stolman.
And in some cases, we've heard from the landowners that they want the 60-day period waived so they get their money 60 days sooner. Sort of. Works both ways, I guess.
Yeah, no, for sure.
I feel that this is one that we have no say in. We're really just deciding whether we want to pause it or not. So if the landowner wants to move forward and in 61 days, they get approval, no matter what we say, I just assume skip the process.
But the 60 days is that period where anybody that a concerned neighbor could actually put an objection in, correct? If I'm right? No, there's nothing they can do. So why do we even have the 60 days?
That's question's been brought to the table before too. It's almost like some of our variants in other properties. It's just, it's why, it's just a matter of talking.
Okay. Mr. Stover.
Just a comment. I'm really happy to see that they have allowed some acreage spaces in these quarters that aren't under easement, because that was one of our biggest grumbles as a county, that when so many quarters go under these conservation easements, it's just reducing places where people can live. So I almost like to see perfect if they could make that a requirement to allow some of those, but in this case, they've done it on each quarter. So just wanted to comment on that. That's a very positive thing.
Fair enough. Okay, you go ahead.
I have to support that too, to Councillor Stillberg, because there was one, it's in Les's area now, but it was in my area previously, and a beautiful farm site that totally got taken over by the easement, which is pretty sad because it was facing the lake, and it would have been a very nice spot to have a house.
And I think you can take it back out of the easement, but I think Ducks Unlimited is very hesitant to do that. This is a change for Ducks Unlimited. They used to purchase quarters and use it. Now they're just paying for a kind of a caveat to stop development on it, which good, bad, or indifferent, I don't know. That's yet to be seen. We'll see what 20 years down the road does for it. So we have a motion on the table to send this easement, or this to relieve the 60-day
notice.
Yeah, waive the 60-day notice. Everybody understands what we're going up on? Okay, I'll call the question. All those in favor? And one opposed. Yeah. Thank you. Okay. 8.3, this is the one that we discussed. Page 3 of the additions package, gentlemen.
Sure. Go to page 4 of that additions package.
Just waiting on. You guys are taking us all over the place.
Oh, no, this isn't the one either. I thought, do we have that one on? Or is that going to be?
I think you may be referring to an enforcement order that recently came out, and whereas these are referrals for NRCB to make a normal.
Fair enough. Okay, I'm with you now, yep.
Thank you, Mr. Chairman. If I could get Jared just to scroll down to page 4. There you go. Up a little bit. Yeah, right there, the map shows. All right. Thank you, Mr. Chairman. So this is another application from that was forwarded from NRCB, asking us to comment if we have any issues or concerns with this. And again, there are things that we have to look for, like is it outside of the CFO exclusion area, which you can see the red outline shows the CFO exclusion area for the town and county IDP. And the green box on the right is the box where the subject property is located. And this application is from the White Sands Atarian group, and they are looking to add a calving barn to their operation. They're not increasing any of the animal numbers or anything else. It's simply to the addition of the calf barn, but doing so triggers the NRCB application in the case, and that triggers them to forward it to us for comments and concerns. So what we're looking for in this is direction from council or from MPC, to if we have any comments or concerns, and if not, to express that in the letter back to the NRCB and notifying them that it does meet with the CFO exclusion area, and it is, in conjunction with the MDP and the zoning, which it all is for this application.
Okay. Any questions? Where do we go from here as far as?
Just if direction from MPC, if there are any concerns with this application, and if not, I can put that in the letter that we have no objections to it, and it does meet with our MDP.
And we don't have to refer it to the town.
Not outside.
Okay, just outside, okay?
I'll make the motion that we forward a letter to NRCB that we have no concerns and it meets all our requirements.
Mr. Gender, you look like you're having a thinking moment there. You got the thinker pose going. Okay. Seeing no questions or concerns then, with the motion to send a letter that we're okay with this, all those in favor? And that is carried. Thank you. No old business. Oh, no, we do have an old business. The old business is 9.1, the public service announcement. Mr. Teal.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So I did send an email to all of council. We are holding a IDP open house this Tuesday evening at the Ag Pavilion. It's a joint effort between the town and the county as we move forward on updating our intermunicipal development plan. It is also open for the public, for anyone that's listening and wishes to come and attend to find out what we have planned for the area in and around the town of Stettler. It is a drop-in format starting at 4 o'clock to 7 p.m. So you don't have to commit your entire evening. You're welcome to pop in if your schedule allows and stay as long as your schedule allows. And we'll hopefully collect some feedback from area landowners and the general public as part of that process.
Just to receive for information.
Wow. Just, how are we advertising that meeting?
The advertising, so the town is the managing partner on this, so it's been a joint effort between the town and the county. So you can find the information on the county website. You can also find the same information on the town website. There have been, what is today? Yeah, today's Thursday, so the second ad in the Stettler Independent should have run. We've also been placing it obviously on our websites. And in terms of all the property owners that are within the county and actually within the town, it's a large undeveloped property owner. So generally speaking, the farm is still within the town boundaries, but on the outer edge of the built area. All have been mailed a postcard notice of the upcoming open house and the ability to go to the website and find more materials. So one or two people who had expressed interest received a direct email about the open house and the ability to review the draft. We've also, although I haven't found it myself, used the magnetic sign. Oh, sorry, one of the portable signs you see along the highway, magnet signs. Looking for one, but I'm not sure which one the town chose to use, so it may be within the town boundary on a route that I don't use very often. We've also used our, I think, up to 12 live TV broadcasting advertising locations that are around the community that we were able to edit the text and use that for notification. I can't speak to any, just head down, not email or social media blurbs or blasts that we may or may not have sent out. I don't think I requested any. But the town may have sent a few of those as well. So I think that exhausts all of our tools that we're using for this go around, Mr. Chair.
One other request, could you add it to our calendars as an optional item? And with that, I'll give a motion to receive for information.
It's on mine, I just checked.
The members of the IDP committee did receive it.
Oh, I received it. Okay.
Yeah, as part of the ID, we should be making an effort to get there, and it would be part of our
I remember reading what you're laying down.
yeah, there you go. For the other rest of the council, it'd be optional. For us, we should be there, but it's just time is up.
Yeah, in your calendar would be a good spot. It shows the document.
So you have a motion, Michelle? Okay, you understand what we're up against. All those in favor?
Yeah, vote, I wasn't here to hear it.
You heard everything.
Oh, fair enough.
I'll take that. It's not it wasn't a crucial item. It's received for information.
Okay, next one. Who wants to take this into camera? Mr. McKay, well, all those in favor? Thank you. Next meeting, July the 16th, Wednesday. Unfortunately, we can't get away from this one. So we have to have a next meeting. So all I need is an adjournment from somebody. Mr. Gender, all those in favor? That is carried. Thank you.